Happy Thursday, everybody. My name is Mike Jimenez, and this is the Acquired Taste. Joe is producing today's show. It's going to be a great show. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Thursday. And the thing about it is this, we have a lot to get into today, and I'm bringing some of the topics to the table, but you're also providing some of this content as well, because I asked a question earlier today on Twitter. What do you want to talk about today? Sports, pop culture, nostalgia. What do you want to get into today? And so many people responded today with questions. So the bottom third of the show, the last third of the show, it's going to be rapid fire questions about sports, pop culture, nostalgia, the things that you want to get into. But we have a lot to talk about today. Joe Garcia producing today's show. Joe, we're inching closer and closer to the 4th of July weekend. What's going on, my man?
What's going on, man? Yeah, I can't wait because I was telling you the other day, like my boss just said about a day ago, hey, we got the approval. You all are off the 3rd and the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't even know what to do, man.
Yeah, I asked my wife, what do you want to do this weekend? Because I thought about it. I said, I can take Monday off as well
Yeah.
and make it a 4-day weekend type of thing. And she says, it's too damn hot to go anywhere. That's where we are in the summer of 2023, where it's too damn hot. I was like, babe, let's go to Great Wolf Lodge or whatever in
Hey, there you
Dallas,
go.
or let's
Yeah.
go to a water park in Conroe or another one in Austin. She was like, nope, let's just stay home and have a staycation, do things around town, but indoors. I got a feeling we're going back to Pinstack and going to go play the video games over there because my daughter loved it, but my son had not seen it. My oldest daughter is turning 20 this weekend, and she's over in Virginia Beach right now doing an internship. And she told me that what she wants for her birthday is money. But she wants money for a specific reason. She wants to save to go on a big trip, and she wants that trip to be with me. She graduates from college at LSU this December, and she said, Dad, I want to go on a big trip with you. And she says, Europe. I haven't been to Europe in 20 years. It's been one time in my life. I spent my 20th birthday in Europe, and I want to go back. My wife not interested in doing any of that. Okay.
She didn't want to be on the plane for that many hours.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
I told my daughter, she's got her birthday coming up. She's got Christmas. She's got her graduation. People are going to be offering her gifts. So I told her, put up a GoFundMe or something where you can say that you want to have X number of dollars be donated on your behalf.
Yeah.
So she's starting that today, and she's telling all the family. She just sent out the text message saying that she wants money, because she wants to spend time with Dad after she graduates college. So I'm proud of her. She only has 3 classes left, and then she graduates. And then I've told her, don't come back home. Go someplace else. Make a name for yourself. Then come back home when you want to get married and have kids, right? This is a place to get married and have kids. It's not necessarily a place to, start your career sometimes.
Yeah.
That's just the way that it is. Hey, we're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We are live on Twitter. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you're on YouTube, hit like and subscribe, because last I checked, we were 2 away from 400. I believe we'll get to 400 subscribers today, which is, by the way, for 2.5 weeks is pretty damn good. It is pretty damn good.
That's really good. Really good.
Before we get going, by the way, we have a lot to get into today. We're going to be talking about a Spur who pled guilty to DWI. We're talking about how Wemby has one of his guys already on the Spurs staff. We'll be talking about Kevin Costner in pop culture news. He wants his estranged wife out of the house, wants her out now, but she has a demand. And oh my God, that demand is hefty. Madonna is out of the hospital. It was announced that she was unresponsive and was rushed to the hospital weeks later. She's now out. So we'll be getting into that in the pop culture segment. And again, we're answering your questions today. Reach out to us on Twitter. I'm at MJ Acquired Taste. Again, your comments, your questions, we're answering them today. Rapid fire today. I don't care what you want to talk about. If you want to talk about a sports topic, great. Pop culture topic, great. Something nostalgic, even better. Again, Joe Garcia producing today's show. My name is Mike Jimenez. And don't forget to subscribe to Locked On Spurs podcast. Was just talking to Jeff Garcia. He was the first person on Kens5.com, the first person in San Antonio to report on the fact that Victor Wembanyama has one of his people on the Spurs staff now. We're going to get into that in a moment. Also, Jeff Garcia is talking about the fact that The free agency period begins tonight at midnight. And on top of that, the Spurs are trying to fill out their roster when it comes to the Summer League. Again, they're going to take part in the Sacramento Summer League. Victor Wembanyama will make his debut July 7th in the Las Vegas Summer League. So we're looking forward to that, a game that will be televised on ESPN. Lots of comments coming in already. I told you, Joe, because we put that 2-minute welcome before the show starts, right? Get people to understand the show's about to start. You've got 2 minutes to buckle up your seatbelt and get going. And I was telling them, man, people are already commenting before the show even starts. I feel the love. I love the love so much. Gabe Chuck going reaching out saying, Saul Ross Rebels in the house. Top 8 most violent schools in the city. I am a Saul Ross Rebel. Okay. I'm also a Holmes Husky as well. Speaking of Huskies, I posted a video of me with my Husky.
I saw that.
Who's named Duncan after Tim Duncan. And it's us howling. And yes, I'm a good dog owner. That one time I posted a video of them getting caught in the rain. But more often than not, I baby those dogs. And they are indoors right now because it's too freaking hot.
Gabriel Chacon. He says, I remind him of a Mexican Anthony Anderson with hustle and flow vibes. Thank you, sir.
There you go. And there was a question that popped up about horniness. What the hell is that all about?
Already?
Chris Leha, what's up, Jimenez? The question all of us need is an answer to is, what level of horniness are you at, my man? Always at a 10. Always at a 10. Dude, everyone gives me crap because I posted a photo, 4 or 5 months ago of meeting Paige Sporonic.
I saw that.
Sexiest woman on the planet.
It was at the Super Bowl Media Day.
It was.
Yeah.
And I remember people looked at me. We had a contest there at San Antonio Sports Star back when I was working over there. Who could have a selfie with the most famous person there?
Yeah.
And everyone's getting, Adam Schefter, Josina Anderson, all these people from ESPN. I saw Paige Sporonic. I was standing right next to her, and I'm looking at her going, oh, my God, is that Paige? And it was.
And you had to take the pic.
And I asked her, I said, would you mind if I get a photo with you? I'm a big fan. And she was like, sure. Oh, but no selfies, she said. She said, I want my friend to take the photo, and I want to be able to approve them. So, if you are Maxim Magazine's sexiest woman on the planet, you get to decide which photos I get to keep. So, very
Daniel
much so.
Castro.
Straight up 10.
Look what he says. PETA.
PETA, are you listening? Screw PETA, dude. Screw PETA. Really, it's so funny because people get into politics and there's some things I'm conservative about and some things I'm liberal about. Somebody asked me how liberal I was the other day, and I said, I am liberal about a lot of things, but plastic straws are not one of them. Okay, I want a plastic straw. I get offended.
Want the paper straw.
I get offended when there's a paper straw. Screw you. Screw any restaurant that has it. Okay, I do not do paper straws. At some point, I'm going to ask my wife to carry plastic ones in her purse, especially if we go to like California or Washington State or any place like that.
Yeah.
But I understand if we're along the coast, by the way. Okay, if we are in Port Aransas, Corpus Christi, if we are in the Caribbean and you want to have a paper straw, I get it. Okay, but if we're away from the coast, give me the plastic straw all day, every day. Okay. I'm liberal, but I'm not that liberal. Okay, so that is me right now. Again, we're live right now on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, having a great time over here. It's a Thursday. Again, user-related content in the sense that you get to ask us questions, and we will respond to them.
And you were just talking about your dog, so I got to go share the screen of you and your dog before you came out on the show today.
Yeah. So that's me. I posted a video of me and my dog. We were in the bathroom. My dog loves going into the master bathroom.
Yeah.
He loves hanging out with the 2 other dogs that I have, Cody and Daisy, my 2 other dogs. But the Husky, a third of the time, wants to be by himself. And he likes the cold floor, and he walks straight in there, plops himself down. He's only about 6 months old. He's a big dog now. But he loves being inside in the bathroom. And sometimes he'll go into the shower just to lay down in there. It's the weirdest thing. But I have a golden retriever as well named Cody. That golden retriever is...
there you go.
There you go. So when people say I'm a dog, they're right. That's me howling with Duncan. Love that dog. My Shih Tzu that I have named Daisy is very, very old, very small dog. Gets annoyed by the 2 big ones, but that dog might only have 2 or 3 years left in it.
Oh, poor thing. She's getting old.
Is getting old. Yeah, getting into that time frame where she's starting to piss herself wherever she goes, and
man.
that's where it's starting to go downhill. Happy birthday to Carolina Teague. We did Tuesdays with Teague earlier this week. Carolina Teague, I'm assuming, is turning 25 years old today. That's what I'm going with today. Happy 25th to Carolina Teague, good friend of ours, friend of the show. She did the show with us on Tuesday. I used to do Tuesdays with Teague with her over on the radio. She's a good friend. I like a lot of what she does. Love what she does with Guylan and a League of Her Own podcast. She hustles out there and she does a lot of good content out there. Carolina Teague, happy birthday!
She actually just released something 7 minutes ago. By the way.
Oh, what is it?
Yeah, I just saw it right now on Twitter.
What
She
does it say?
released this. The Spurs have announced their California Classic Summer League roster, which includes Dominic Barlow, Charles Bedanko, I think, Malachi Branham, Chandi Brown, Josh Carlton, Julian Champagny, Sidi Sissoko,
Yeah, the second rounder they got.
Justin Gorman, Logan Johnson, Sadiq Kabaka, Justin Keir, Javante McCoy.
A lot
Seth
of names.
Miller.
A lot of names
we don't even know.
A lot of
Wesley.
names that'll go on to the Austin G League team.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Half of those players will be on the Spurs roster at some point. Blake Wesley, Malachi Branham. Even the second rounder, I believe, will have some time in the Spurs in the silver and black.
Yeah.
It's exciting because the season's coming along, and the last 4 seasons where the Spurs had a losing record, it was hard to get excited about that season coming up. But now there's hope. And that hope comes because of Victor Wembanyama and what the Spurs can do to build around him. And that hope of tonight, when at midnight, when the free agency period begins, what is Brian Wright going to do? Is he going to pull another trade? Is he going to pick up somebody? I mean, there's all these rumors going around about all these different types of players. And I believe some of the rumors because we're never going to really know. Give you an example. People were upset that the Spurs did not pull off a trade to move back into the first round during the draft last week, right? They were upset about that. I wasn't upset because the Spurs tried.
Yeah.
But you need to have a willing partner on the other side to do that trade. So it's not like Brian Wright sat on his hands and didn't do anything. He was trying over there.
Yeah, I think the asking price was a little steep.
It probably was because it was a good draft. Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 was also posting a story about how the Spurs were adding these players' names to the Summer League. So there's a great article about that on kens5.com. Subscribe to the Locked On Spurs podcast. I follow that daily Spurs content on Spotify personally. That's how I listen. But you can listen a variety of different ways. Jeff Garcia does a fantastic job. Now, one of the things that he was reporting on today, and again, he was the first one to report on it here in San Antonio on kens5.com, was the fact that the Spurs have added Victor Wembanyama's physical trainer to the team staff. And the trainer worked with Wemby over with the Metropolitans 92, which was the professional team that he played with in France up until a few weeks ago. And the thing about it is that this is a good thing that the Spurs are doing. Because think about Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard had his own medical people, right?
I think it's his birthday today, too.
Kawhi?
Yeah.
Screw Kawhi. Screw Kawhi. Hang up his jersey and the banners and then let him go. But Kawhi Leonard had his own medical team. And it was kind of like the Spurs had their staff, Kawhi had his staff, and they didn't see eye to eye. And at some point, Kawhi and his people ghosted the Spurs and ghosted Pop. And Tony apparently offended Kawhi Leonard, all that stuff. But to have Wemby's people be part of the medical team is huge.
Yeah.
That just shows that you are learning from past mistakes when it comes to a superstar. And the fact of the matter is that Victor Wembanyama has a very unique way of stretching before a game. It is long. He takes his time in stretching because big guys who are 7'3", 7'2", 7'4", 7'5", in that range have problems with their feet.
Yeah.
And he is stretching his feet in a certain way, the arch of his feet, so that he's lighter on his feet and that it's about his toes, it's about his ankles.
Yeah, it's about that flexibility.
Yeah, and he's doing it in a unique way,
Yeah.
and that is being taught to him by this particular physical trainer.
Did you see what the trainer said too?
What's that?
He said the goal for Wemby was never to bulk up,
No.
not while his frame is still developing. Very aware of that. That's very different. He's adding weight normally, but not 10 to 20 pounds every month. That could be difficult for his motor control, knees, joints. They're trying to build it as best they can, said his trainer.
Yeah, and when Wemby was on JJ Redick's podcast the other day, when they're asking about bulking up, and he goes, "Why? Why do I need to bulk up?" When did Kevin Durant bulk up? He's a 7-footer.
Yeah,
he's rail thin.
Yeah,
You do not need to bulk up. He is not going to be banging bodies with Jokic. He is not a center. He is 7'3", 7'5" in shoes, but he is not a center. Apparently, I saw a report that Wemby got officially listed at 7'3.5" is what he is.
without the shoes.
Without the shoes.
Yeah.
7'3.5". Absolutely ridiculous. Again, the free agency period begins tonight or right at the stroke of midnight.
11 o'clock.
11
Eastern.
o'clock our time.
It's
11
Eastern
o'clock.
time.
Midnight Eastern. That's right. So 11 o'clock tonight is when it starts. Brian Wright is on the clock. He's going to do something. We have to fill out the roster. The Spurs do need to spend a certain amount of money because people are like, well, why don't you? I don't understand that. There is something called the luxury tax. If you go over the cap, you are taxed. And the teams that don't go over the cap get to share in that money. Now, it used to be it didn't matter how much you spent to share in that money as long as you were under the cap. Well, now the rules are you have to spend at least 90% of your cap space in order to enjoy the benefits of getting that windfall from those who went over the cap. And last year, the Spurs didn't do that. They kept their money in their pockets. This year, they need to spend money. And Bobby Marks was on ESPN a couple of days ago talking about the fact that he says that he believes a dark horse in getting Dame Lillard from Portland is the Spurs. And he says because they have the cap space and they have a budding superstar that he'd want to play with. He didn't say that they're the favorite, but he basically said, don't be surprised if you hear rumors about that.
Yeah.
And Bobby Marks knows what he's talking about. On top of that, Brian Windhorst, I don't know if you saw this.
You know what amazes me about Brian Windhorst? They can never get that brother to fit in his square, dude. Never.
Well, I mean, Brian Windhorst talking about the fact that there's something going on in Portland when it comes to
Damian Lillard.
No, when it comes to Darius Garland.
Okay.
And the fact that they might be able to move off of a Darius Garland and that rumor that is going around. And he's basically saying, look, I don't know much about it, but I know something's going on over there. And if Darius Garland could be had, that is a big, big deal. The Spurs can actually make a play for that and actually have the assets that Cleveland would want for that. So keep an eye on that one as well. So there's big names out there. There's also the smaller names. Are the Spurs going to bring back Trey Jones? Are the Spurs going to
well, some of the free agents that the Spurs have are Mamu, Trey Jones, Langford, Champagne.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
There's a lot going on when it comes to that. And, you know, who's going to be the two-way players? The Spurs, I believe, if you count Wemby, already have 11 players on the roster. Yeah. They got to spend some more money. The Spurs are going to bring somebody in. Jeff Garcia and I on Locked On Spurs that came out yesterday. We were talking about point guards. And, you know, there's some players out there like Fred VanVleet that we both like. We don't like Kyrie Irving.
Nah, no Kyrie, man.
No, I'm not about Kyrie Irving. I'm not about any of the guys from the Lakers when it comes to their guards. Reeves, I would.
Austin Reeves, yeah.
But other names that were out there were like Russell Westbrook. I can't stand Russell Westbrook, but I think that Russell Westbrook humbled himself after he got traded from the Lakers and got sent to the Clippers, or he got dropped and sent to the Clippers. Either way, he was no longer with the Lakers and he got dropped. He played a little bit more team-oriented. If he can humble himself and it's a one-year deal, I wouldn't mind it. Now, the Russell Westbrook from 3 or 4 years ago never would have wanted him in San Antonio.
Who would you rather have, Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook?
Westbrook.
Okay.
Because Westbrook will be healthy in the playoffs. And Chris Paul would not be. Hey, TMZ is reporting that Spurs player Devontae Graham pleaded guilty to DWI
Yeah.
in North
Saw that.
Carolina yesterday. And he's going to be sentenced sometime next month, I believe. The thing about it is this. It's a big deal, man. It is. Now, the arrest happened last summer in July of last year. Keep in mind, he was playing for the New Orleans Pelicans at the time. Got traded to the Spurs, played for the Spurs for about 20 games, averaged 13 points. So the Spurs knew that this DWI charge was there. They knew that it was there. What happened last summer was that he was driving 63 and a 40, got pulled over, and Devontae Graham blew a .11. Right? That's above the legal limit in not only Texas and North Carolina.
Yeah, he had a couple drinks.
.11 is probably 4 drinks, 5 drinks, maybe. Okay, so he it wasn't a bender where he was plowing down drinks all night long. He might have had 3 or 4 or 5, right? Few doubles. I'm not saying that's the right thing, but the fact of the matter is that this dude makes almost $13 million a year. Devontae Graham, Uber is your friend. Lyft is your friend. And it sucks ass whenever I have to go and get Lyft and Uber, right? Because I know how much money I make, and I make a good income, but I still don't want to pay $55 round trip to go to the Rue Pub from my house. But still, you got to do it sometimes. It's because you know when you're going out.
Yeah.
Is it a 2-drink night, or is it one of those nights where I'm going out with Jeff Garcia and I realize I need to like get there by Lyft?
Well, I've seen what you've done with the bottle of Buffalo Trace, so I can only imagine.
Dude, I'm a legendary drinker, dude. And it's so funny because people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, you're an indoor dog," and "Oh, you're bougie." You know what? Let's go toe to toe drinking.
You know, my good friend Jason Garcia said he joined you one time at Bar 1919.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Man, Mike likes to pack it away, man. He likes to drink the good stuff."
Oh, I pound it back. And don't be wrong, I will go both ways. I get make fun of all the time because I like Jim Beam.
Ain't nothing wrong with Jim Beam. I got it right now in my fridge.
I love me some Jim Beam. Jim Beam ain't expensive.
Nah,
right?
It's good.
Shout out to Texas Cheer Liquor, man. That's where I go to go get my alcohol.
Yeah.
AD is a wonderful owner over there, man. All the franchises popping up. Cordillera Ranch, the one over there outside of Bernie where George Strait lives. Well, that's a great place. But when I go and buy alcohol, I don't care if it's bottom shelf or top shelf. I just like to have a good time and have fun. I haven't karaokeed in a while. That's going to be the next thing that I want to do. My voice is back. I want to karaoke. No, but Devontae Graham needs to understand you are a grown man. You are making $13 million a year. That is a drop in the bucket to spend 40 or 50 bucks to get an Uber or a Lyft, or just get a friend to be the one to be the designated driver. And that's the problem that I have. It's a misdemeanor that he pleaded guilty to. He wasn't, Amy Winehouse drunk, right? He wasn't epically drunk, but still, it happened. He got pulled over doing 63 and a 40. And again, the Spurs knew about this the entire time. That was part of the whole thing, right? They traded for him, so they knew that this had happened.
Look at Jason Garcia.
It says, "Hello, my name is Jason Garcia. I'm hooked on Rebecca Creek. Thank you, Mike Jimenez." Yes, that is it. That is it. I got him going on Rebecca Creek, which, by the way, is from San Antonio.
Yeah, and we got a big old bottle of it, too, in the fridge.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It really is. I want to give a shout-out also to one of our sponsors, Cynthia J. Sanchez, who's a realtor here in town with J. Parr Real Estate. The thing about it is that she is offering a free market analysis for those of you who want to know the true value of your home. Don't trust Zillow. Don't trust Redfin. Don't trust any of these places because they just tell you what they estimate based on their computer projections. Cynthia J. Sanchez will tell you what your house is worth based on apples to apples approaches of the houses sold in your neighborhood, right? Your true value of what you would actually get for your home. If you're trying to buy a home or sell a home, Cynthia J. Sanchez has been doing this for 16 years, works well with the military, a lot of faith-based people she loves working with. She's a very good person. And the fact of the matter is that she is my personal realtor. 210-273-0748. Reach out to her, send her a text, send me a DM. I'll get you in contact with her. And also keep in mind, right now, a lot of houses aren't being sold these days. Why? Because you have houses because loans right now are going for 7 or 8%. They used to be 2 or 3. She has some home builders right now who are doing the financing internally. We're talking about 4-5% interest rate, a lot better than what you would get at a bank, and it's for a brand new home. Reach out to Cynthia J. Sanchez, JPAR Real Estate, 210-273-0748. Again, in about 10 minutes or so, we're going to answer your questions when it comes to sports, pop culture, and nostalgia. Lots of questions coming in. And I think we're going to make this a thing on Thursday, kind of like
Fan Thursday.
Yeah. Listener Thursday. You give us some topics and we'll do a rapid fire with it. But I want to get into some pop culture news because Kevin Costner, I am a huge fan of. And if there was a Mount Rushmore of my favorite actors of all time, Kevin Costner would be in it, right? Not only because of the movies, but oh my God, I love the TV show Yellowstone. And Kevin Costner, if you don't come back, I'm going to go hunt you down and find you. Kevin Costner has been a big old pain in the ass when it comes to continuing that series. It had a cliffhanger. They were supposed to film some more episodes. And he's like, nah, I think I might be done. And there were some rumors that Matthew McConaughey might join and they might just kill off Kevin Costner's character, which would be awful, but I'd still watch anyway because it's a great show. That being said, he's been married for a while, okay? And his wife filed for divorce back in May. And he says that she has a prenup, or he has a prenup with her that states that if she ever filed for divorce, she has to be out of the house in 30 days. She hasn't left. She's like, prenup, stick this prenup up your ass. Okay. And I think part of it is because it's not like they've been married for 3 years. They've been together for a while. They have 3 teenage kids together. Okay. So even if they haven't been married for a while, the fact of the matter is they've been together for a good while.
Yeah.
And California, if I'm not mistaken, is a community property state. So the fact of the matter is she's basically saying this prenup means nothing to me. So Kevin Costner has offered her $1 million to go find another place to live. Now, okay, $1 million in San Antonio will get you a decent home, a nice home in San Antonio, right? Maybe the smallest house at the Dominion will get you for $1 million. Maybe someplace in Stone Oak, right? But more often than not, if you want a nice $1 million home, you might be in Alamo Ranch, right?
Yeah.
Sonterra, right? But $1 million in LA,
it's a shack, dude.
It is a fixer-upper, okay? They live in a house that's worth $145 million. And he offered her $1 million to go find a house. Think about that. Okay, so my house, I bought my house for $306 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It's now valued at around $500,000 or $475, $485, right? So if I'm going to look at it this way, he offered her 1 divided by 145, right? And let's say that my house is valued at $475. It would be the equivalent of me offering my wife, if she left me, a settlement of $3,000 in San Antonio dollars to go buy a house. Okay, in comparison to what she was living in right now.
Yeah.
Okay, $145 million house. Here is $1 million. Go find yourself someplace to live in LA.
But hey, let's take it from his perspective too, right? We always say, oh, look, it doesn't really go a long way, but they've been married for a while, right?
Right.
So all the other expenses that he's been having to endure over the course of the marriage,
right?
Maybe he's just like, hey, I'm done. I've already spent way too much money on you. This is a parting gift. That way I can be done with you. $1 million. I don't got to see you again.
Okay. First of all, he married her back in 2004.
Okay. So we're been for a while.
It's 19 years. It's 19 years. And let's not pretend like Kevin Costner has been faithful. Okay. Yeah. I have no evidence of it, but he's known to be
a dirty dog. He's a dirty dog.
He's a bit of a cat, right? And Kevin Costner is one of my favorite actors because, all the sports movies he did, from Bull Durham to Field of Dreams, which still makes me cry to this day. I loved him in The Untouchables, Yellowstone, JFK, and that's just off the top of my head. Kevin Costner, to me, is on my Mount Rushmore. But $1 million saying she signed a prenup 19 years ago. Okay, if you want to say that she signed that prenup 19 months ago, I would bite. I'd be like, yeah, okay, gold digger. But if she had 3 of your kids and was with you for 19 years, which amounts to being almost half of her life, I think he's screwed. I think he's royally screwed. Royally screwed. So, here's what she's asking for. She is asking for money for a house, right? And is asking for child support and spousal support of $250,000 a month, which you do the math, it's about $3 million a year. And she wants him to pay for the kids' private school tuition, healthcare, and all their extracurricular activities.
Man,
so, how
that's
much
a
is he
lot.
worth? He made $19 million last year. And court documents show that after agent fees, after state income tax, federal tax, and all of that stuff, his net was just under 7.5 million. So she is asking for essentially 40% of his net, which, by the way, falls in line with what it's like to have 3 kids. If you were to get divorced and go to the Bexar County courthouse and you have 3 kids with a woman and the child support, they're going to say, what, 20% for 1 kid, 30% for 2? I believe it's 40% for 3. So it's not out of line. Now, is he always going to be making 19 million per year? That's the thing. His income will fluctuate. I'm sure there were some years where he made 50. I'm sure there's some years where he made 5. But I looked at this and I thought to myself, from a guy's perspective, I'm like, dude, that's $250,000 a month. She's out of her mind. But then I did the math on it. It actually, there's a rhyme and reason to what she's asking for. It sucks for him. But if he has a $145 million house, I don't know if it's free and clear, but if he has a $145 million house, it's not like he doesn't have either A, the equity to do it, or B, the resources to pay it. So Kevin Costner, you're going to find out next month exactly how much you're going to owe. And she's saying, screw this prenup. Let's have a judge decide this, an arbitrator decide this. And that's where she's at right now.
But at what point, though, man? It's like, I understand, yeah, you had kids with this woman. But at what point is it up to the woman to actually work too and, be able to help herself?
There's no point. If you remember the movie Airplane,
yeah,
there's a line in there where this guy says he bought the ticket, he knew what he was getting into. I say, let him crash. They knew what she was doing. Look at Jeff Bezos. Bezos, the settlement that he had with his wife, his ex-wife, was Mackenzie Bezos received 25% of the couple's Amazon shares that at the time were valued at $38 billion. That means she got, $9.5 billion in stock on top of other things. So if you ask the question, can they go after somebody making $17 million a year? They went after Bezos, and Bezos got his ass handed to him. So he's screwed. He is screwed. Again, it's one thing if you've been married for a few months, a couple of years.
Yeah.
But 19 years, you got 3 kids, all teenagers,
it's
all
like
in high
that
school.
Old saying. What's that old saying that you hear from all these old timers all the time?
Cheaper to keep her.
It's cheaper to keep her.
Mm-hmm. Thank God I love my wife so much.
Yeah.
Thank God I love her so much, because I tell her all the time, I would hate to be on a dating app again. I met my wife on Match.com, and I would hate to do that. It's not that I would have any difficulty dating, because, come on, I'm pretty suave, man. I can talk. I can talk. I would have to lose 20 pounds, but I can talk, right? And that's the thing. The guys that oftentimes have a hard time, it's because they have no game, right?
They got no personality.
No
they don't know
personality.
How to make people laugh. Yeah.
Make a woman laugh and feed her. Make her laugh and feed the woman, and you're fine.
Yeah, man. I find a lot of times you don't even have to try, man. You just pull up to the bar. You don't pay attention to nobody. You're talking with your boys, and all of a sudden, bartender comes up and says, the lady over there at the bar bought you a drink.
It's happened before. I never want it to happen. I love my wife, Selena.
Yeah.
If you're watching, I know you're not. But if you are, I love you like crazy. I would never want to be single again. We've been married for 11 years, together for 12. But yeah, that's Kevin Costner screwed. And he's one of the greatest actors of all time when it comes to sports movies. Bull Durham was amazing. Tin Cup. There's another movie that's sports
Field
related.
of Dreams.
Field of Dreams. Great
Hey,
actor.
Tin Cup, low key, is a good movie, dude.
It is a great movie. It's a great movie. The Shanks and all that stuff. But Madonna made the news yesterday because, we've heard that Jamie Foxx has been in the hospital for so long. Madonna apparently went to the hospital, was in the hospital in ICU for a while, and then got released. And we finally found out about it after she got released. Now, she's still under medical care, but she had some sort of severe bacterial infection, and she was found unresponsive a few weeks ago, rushed to the hospital, and she's been on the recovery ever since. She has a concert tour that was supposed to begin next month, but that is being postponed, being pushed back a while. Jeff Garcia asked a question from Locked On Spurs, asked a question yesterday. The question was, what are your favorite Madonna songs? Now, yesterday, a lot of people gave me shit because I was talking a lot about Taylor Swift. Okay. And I kind of made mention of the fact that everybody likes Taylor Swift at least a little bit. You may not know it, but you do. And I found it funny, kind of ironic or coincidental, that Jeff Garcia is asking this question on his Twitter account, which, by the way,
have
is
to get Jeff to
just
just sing some Madonna. We go karaoke.
No, I don't like that, dude. Can't be embarrassing.
Hey, if you can go ahead and pull that off, you got some skill, man. That's all
I mean,
saying.
what song would you do?
Borderline acoustic.
No guy's gonna sing Borderline.
Why not?
No.
Why not?
Because that's just not it, man. It's just not it.
I bet you we go,
because that's bad karaoke watching, dude. Nobody wants to watch another dude sing.
It would
Borderline.
be funny. I'm saying,
well,
man.
No, but it's funny to the 3 people at the table, but the other 75 people in the building are like, "What is this shit? Why are people doing that?"
Hey, man,
you know
but
what
if
I
you can
hate?
pull it off, bro.
I hate it when 8 women jump up there to sing "I Will Survive" by Gloria Gaynor.
Oh, man.
Dude, there's only one mic. Why are there 8 of you out there? I hate that crap. By the way, we will have a acquired taste karaoke night. Let's make that so. Not this weekend, but let's maybe have it next weekend. Have the listeners come out, meet us at I like going to Who's Who over on Babcock and Callahan because I'm not going to go to any fancy.
But you know what,
Lo?
I want to see somebody struggle, man. I want to see somebody go out there and I want to see them struggle,
dude,
trying to get through living on a prayer or something.
Dude, there's something called the Goldilocks zone, which is basically when you're not too drunk and you're not too sober. It's perfect, like it's just right.
Yeah.
And it's perfect when it comes to karaoke. There was one time when I went out with Jason Minix and James Pledger and a handful of other people. And I am a decent karaoke guy, but that one time I was drunk off my ass and I realized it way too late. And I went on stage and I made a complete fool out of myself when typically I do a pretty good job. But Jeff Garcia was asking the question about favorite Madonna songs. I got to ask you, Joe, what is your favorite Madonna song? Or maybe list a top 3, 4, or 5.
Oh, man.
Because his, by the way, was Crazy for You.
Crazy for You. Okay. I can
That's
see
a
that.
good one. That's a good one. Want me to name my 5 first?
Yeah, you go ahead and name your 5 because I'm starting to think, like how many Madonna songs do I really remember?
Okay, I have Crazy for You. No particular order. I'm not saying this is number 1, but Crazy for You, Take a Bow, Live to Tell, which, by the way, was one of the last movie reviews I did at the radio station. It was a good movie. I'd never seen it before. Sean Penn and Christopher Walken was very good. So again, Crazy for You, Take a Bow, Live to Tell. I like Borderline. And I like Dress You Up.
Okay.
Gonna dress you up in my love.
I think probably what I would have to say would be one that you didn't mention, La Isla Bonita. That's
there you go.
A banger, dude. That's a banger.
There you go. Came out in the 90s.
Yeah, that one's good. Borderline's another favorite there. What's that other one? Oh, Like a Prayer. That was a good one too.
Dude, that was a controversial video back in the late 80s.
Back in the day, dude. That was a good one too. Which one else? I'm trying to think.
There's a lot of them.
My wife likes Papa Don't Preach, so I'll be like, okay.
Papa Don't Preach. That was a video in the mid '80s.
And of
that
course, the one that always stood out at me, because that's probably how I got introduced to Madonna, because I remember watching MTV at my aunt's house with all my cousins.
Yeah.
Material Girl.
Yeah, that's
I remember that video vividly.
Is Material the one the where she's doing like the Marilyn Monroe?
Yeah, she's all dressed up in that pink dress.
The pink dress. Yeah. That was a good one. That was a good one. But again, Madonna is on the mend, out of the hospital, out of ICU. So good for her. Good for her. I'm glad that she's okay, or at least getting better. Hopefully, she gets back onto the stage.
Who was more talented during their prime? Do you think it would have been Madonna would have given Taylor Swift a run for her money?
Well, Taylor Swift writes her stuff.
Oh, true that.
And she's also into the music as well, with the better range. But I will say this: Madonna they're on the same tier level of legendary performers.
Yeah.
In the sense that, I mean, if you go back in time, Madonna marketed herself in a way that was controversial. People hated her,
and she had her own style.
People dressed like her. She had that lace glove with the fingertips out.
The bangle bracelets.
The bangle bracelets. She had these very pastel fuchsia type colors. Like a Virgin was one of her big songs back in the day. But Chris Gonzalez saying singing Borderline is a fantasy football bet if you sing it at karaoke. Now if it's an embarrassing moment, and you get the last place on your fantasy football league, that I would understand. Speaking of fantasy football, tomorrow I'm going to try to have Brandon Medina, Big Poppy, try to get him in studio tomorrow, because we're going to revive the Fantasy Gods beginning August 6th. Brandon Medina is going to drive that show. We'll be doing that on Sundays between 11 and 12 to get you ready for your draft and get you ready for the football season at hand. Week 1, week 2, week 3. Who to start, who to sit, all that stuff. Brandon Big Poppy Medina will be doing that with us. I asked a question a while back to a relative of mine.
These comments, bro.
I always sing I Touch Myself by the Divinals. Thank you, Echo, for that.
That's when we can gauge your level of horniness right there.
I'm quoting somebody else, okay, when I said that. Echo says that he sings I Touch Myself by the Divinals. That's a good topic right there. Songs about masturbation. I mean,
like glistening in the sun.
Yeah. What are the other songs? I Touch Myself. There's is it Whip It by Devo?
Yeah.
Isn't that one? There's a lot of songs from the 80s that were about, as Mike Taylor would say, diddling oneself.
Yeah, 80s was a different time, bro.
Yeah. There's one that's Dancing with Myself by Billy Idol. Was one. Dancing with Myself. That's a classy way of jerking off. Wow. We kind of came off the rails there, but what we're trying to do on Thursdays now is have it where you guys send us some questions. We answer them as well. Lots of questions coming in. Some are sports, some are pop culture. Let's go through this. Hector reaches out and says, UTSA's transition into the American Conference, what it means, what to expect. It's official beginning July 1. I'm excited about the football season when it comes to it. I think that UTSA is well on its way to representing itself very well when it comes to football, because we have Jeff Traylor at head coach. Frank Harris, who's now going to be like 35 years old, is still the quarterback. And he's great. He's great, but it's just, the COVID years and the injuries and all that stuff. He's older than a third of the starting NFL quarterbacks out there right now. But to answer your question about it, UTSA is ready to go when it comes to matters of football. But when it comes to baseball and basketball, baseball, they're ready to go talent-wise, but facility-wise, they're not. That is the worst. Basketball, when it comes to it, the Convocation Center is the worst facility that the AAC has to offer. It was the worst facility in Conference USA. It was the worst facility in every conference they've had. I would rather play at Garza Park, right across from Sul Ross High School, than go watch a game at the Convocation Center. It is trash.
It's a little dated.
They know that. They know that. So it's. I'm not trying to pile on them when it comes to it, but they know that. I hope one day that UTSA has its own stadium. I know a lot of fans love going to the Alamo Dome. because we don't know anything else other than that, right? Football games, college football games are supposed to be played on campus. When I go to Baton Rouge to go see LSU play, because my daughter goes to that school, we don't leave the campus to go somewhere else in Baton Rouge. When I go see UT play at DKR, we don't go to Round Rock to go watch UT play. You're supposed to play on campus. And the dome sucks. It does. I have fun out there because I'm getting drunk off my ass before the game. You know, I'm drinking beer, bourbon, all that stuff. I'm getting drunk before I get into
going to the Birds
the
Landing. Yeah, going to the tailgates.
So I have fun.
Yeah.
But for an aesthetic standpoint, a fan standpoint, watching games at the Alamo Dome is trash. It's absolute trash. Thank you, Roland, for reminding us that She Bop by Cyndi Lauper was a song about masturbation, but that's the female version of Dancing with Myself. Now, UTSA should have a 40,000 seat stadium built on campus. They have the room for it. Just make it so. Make it in the next 10, 15 years, because that dome is old as it stands right now.
It's a shoebox, man. Basically, that's what
it's a cavern. There's no home field advantage for UTSA. To think about the fact that UTSA has done so well, despite the fact that that stadium gives no home field advantage, because it's a cavern. It's difficult to make it loud in there. And when you watch a game there where it's just the lower bowl and the top bowl is covered, it sucks. No. It sucks. It doesn't have to be. And then I like football games outdoors. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's anything like that. Just if that's part of football. But build something on campus at some point, because without that, we're never going to understand the true college football experience.
Yeah, I hope they do build a stadium, but I want them to build it after my son finishes going to college, because I think he might go and choose UTSA. And I don't want to have to pay the increased tuition to help pay for the stadium.
Exactly. Joshua reaches out and says, if the Spurs don't get a top player in a trade or don't sign anyone of significance, as the roster stands today, do they roll out this type of team for the next season, or do they attempt to tank for a top player again next year? No, they're not going to tank this year. They're going to try to win. That is, you do not want to introduce that type of culture to Victor Wembanyama. He did not get drafted number 1 overall to lose this year. He's going to try to win. Vegas has the Spurs as a 35 to 36 win team. Jimenez has them as a 46 win team. Okay. The Spurs are going to try to make moves. Brian Wright has shown the willingness to pull trades. And as far as going after a big name free agent, Fred VanVleet, for example, I think the Spurs will make an attempt, but there's only going to be so much. They're not going to overpay for a player. That's the one thing about the Spurs, is that they're very shrewd with what they do.
What's it going to be like if they wind up getting Fred VanVleet because of the Coach Pop comments? Is all forgiven?
All forgiven.
Water under the bridge.
Yeah, it is what it is. Nathan reaches out and says, pro athletes turned actors, the best and the worst. Well, the worst is Shaq, because I don't understand a word he's saying. I don't understand a word he says on TNT. Dude, it's funny. So many people love the whole Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, Shaq. I think it's absolute garbage. You know what else is garbage? Manning Cast, Peyton and Eli. Just shut the hell up. Why do I want to listen to any of these guys? They're not insightful. They're not funny. It's just trash. So Shaq is the worst. The best, and by the way, I'm not looking this up right now because this is just a question I just read. The best pro athlete turned actor. Why is it I'm thinking of O.J. Simpson?
Oh no, man!
The commercials from Hertz and the acting in the Naked Gun movies.
Yeah.
Would you consider The Rock an athlete turned?
He was an athlete. I mean, he played football,
college football for Miami.
He got hurt. Then he became a wrestler. That he was athletic. He was an athlete. He was in wrestling for many years. And then, he comes and makes a scene onto the movie industry, and he's just had a stellar career. I mean, he's also, you could say, he's probably one of the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's go. John Cena.
John Cena. Hey, He was born to play Peacekeeper, man. Have you seen that?
I have not.
You
no.
have to see that series on the Max.
Yeah.
It is hilarious, dude. It's outrageous. If you watch that, you're gonna laugh out loud through the first episode.
I thought he was hilarious in Blockers.
Man,
Did you see
I saw
Blockers?
Blockers. It's
The
hilarious.
butt chug.
Yeah, but imagine that guy. Imagine him. He's being a dick, right? And
Yeah.
Blockers.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but as a douchey Captain America. That's Peacemaker, and he says some outrageous stuff. And I mean, you got to watch that series. It was hilarious.
Let's go ahead and see here. We've got other questions coming into us right now. Ooh, I just lost it. Let me go ahead and get.
Oh,
get
I like
back to
one
it.
of these comments right here.
Oh,
These-
the worst actor by the way. We saw Shaq. Ronda Rousey. Can we add her to that list? Because she kind of sucks at acting herself. Yeah. Other questions coming in or comments coming in. Wrestling is acting, according to Rudolph Gonzalez.
Oh man, go say that to a wrestler to their face.
Charlie reaches out to us on YouTube, says Texas state facilities are a million times better than UTSA.
Yeah.
I am somebody who understands both because I graduated from UTSA, but I also attended Texas State for 2 years. So I have love for both schools, but I will say this, the stadium at UTSA compared to the stadium at Texas State, it's so much more fun to watch a game at Texas State. The Alamo Dome is trash. But it was nice in the 90s, but in 2023, not so much. Jesus reaches out. Is Star Wars really worth the hype? Corny lines, CGI and incest.
Oh man, bro.
Let me go ahead and like that one. Deontay asked the question, what top 3 moments of your favorite teams you wish you could have been in the building for? I'll start off with 1999. The Spurs won the finals on the road. So, to celebrate, 2003 was the first one that we celebrated here at the Dome. 99, I would have loved to have seen Avery Johnson make that 15-footer from the left side.
Yeah.
And celebrate with that. Favorite teams? Well, let's see. I cheer for I'm a Saints fan, so I would have loved to have seen their Super Bowl victory. And the Rangers really haven't done much for me in my lifetime. They were one strike away from the World Series. Spurs moments. I was at a lot of the finals games. I didn't really miss out on that. I would go off and say UT playing in the Rose Bowl when Vince Young just went off and had the best performance of all time. I cheer for UT. I'm not a diehard UT fan. I cheer for them. That probably would be the third one. You got any that you wish you could have gone to?
See, ones that I could have gone to, I probably would have loved to have been able to go to one of the Cowboys games when they won the Super Bowl. I was younger back then when they were actually winning, know. So I would have loved to go and seen that in person, because it doesn't look like they're going to win another Super Bowl in my lifetime.
That's true. It's been a while.
The other one that I wish I would have been able to go to see would probably have been the Spurs 2014 championship run, when they finally won and beat the Miami Heat. I wish I would have been able to see that in person. So that's probably what I guess that's what I really, when I think about it, those are the ones that I really would have loved to have seen. And also, I would have loved to have been at one of the Boston Red Sox World Series
when they came back from the Yankees. They were down 3-0.
Yeah, and you see, everybody gave me flack for that because I was a big time Boston Red Sox fan, and everybody was telling me it's over. I still believe, and sure enough, they went ahead and won the World Series.
Chris Gonzalez reaches out to us on YouTube, says that he wishes he would have gone to Tiger Woods' victory at the Masters in 2019, or Michael Phelps when he went off for those gold medals in 2008. That makes sense to me. That makes absolute sense to me. Others reaching out saying, I think Rudy reached out and said that he was living in LA when Vince Young won for UT. It was amazing. He didn't go, but it was still cool. I was at a bar that night. Mike Valdez used to be an anchor at KABB for many, many years. He owned a bar on Broadway, kind of like near the Hangar, near Salud. I forgot what it was called. But I was watching the game there, and I remember just being in absolute shock when it happened. Again, thank you so much for everyone who's sending us comments and questions for the show.
We got to answer this question, though, Mike.
What's that?
Swiss on Twitter here was going ahead and he put a comment there, and he said, I got to ask because he's been seeing it on Twitter lately. Best tacos San Antonio or Austin?
Oh, San Antonio by far.
Yeah.
Enchiladas Garcia's on, is that Fredericksburg or Woodlawn near downtown? That is really good. Garcia's Mexican restaurant. They have really good cheese enchiladas. They have really good brisket tacos. I mean, amazing brisket tacos. The growing up in the west northwest side of town, my family and I used to go to Tacos Martinez on West Commerce. We'd go to Lupita's on Culebra. Those were all pretty good. To kind of piggyback off of that question, Art reaches out and asks the question: red or green salsa? And do you want more flavor or spice with your salsa verde? And does avocado salsa count in the salsa verde category, or is it its own thing? It's its own thing. But I am big into avocado. If you ask me what's my favorite food, avocado and cheese. I can have avocado for every meal. This morning for breakfast, because I'm trying to get back into it and I'm trying to have less carbs, not cut out carbs, just fewer carbs. So I want to slim down a bit. I went walking for over 3 miles yesterday. Back into it, Rudy J. Back on it. I had for breakfast today 3 tortillas from HEB that are the low carb, the 40 calorie ones, and I had a big ass Culebra Meat Market avocado. Just sliced up with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper.
You had an avocado taco. Those are nice, man.
It hit the spot. He asked a question about red or green salsa. Red only belongs on chips. Okay, that's it. And it has to be more thick than runny. Okay, I like, the horniness level. I like my salsa like the women, baby. A little thickness. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Chef's kiss. Love my wife. She falls into that category.
I'll make sure I'll put this as the clip of the day.
No, it's green salsa the rest of the way for everything else, right? So if you get a taco with fajitas or carne guisada or potato and egg or whatever, you got to have the green salsa on there. Art says, sports, please. No, we talk pop culture and nostalgia here and all sorts of crap. Well, there was one question that I saw on here that it kind of disappeared. And it asked the question, why is it that the city of San Antonio doesn't have a second major franchise other than the Spurs?
You know what I attribute that to, honestly?
We're poor.
Well, you kind of think about it and you look to see how much backing does the city actually have? Financial backing, from big name sponsors. I mean, outside of what your Methodist hospitals, USAA, maybe one of the car groups here. I mean, there's not a lot of big name sponsorships that are available here. And the other flip side of that is, what have our councilmen or the mayor done to really entice another, let's say, team that might be interested in moving to San Antonio, really have made a really good offer that they can't refuse.
Okay, couple things. I'm going to proclaim the fact that San Antonio does have 2 major franchises, 2 professional sports or 2 big league, San Antonio Spurs and UTSA football. Making their way to AAC is a big deal.
Yeah.
The other athletics that UTSA has might be lacking when it comes to facilities, but UTSA football is big league. We are a nationally ranked program, preseason ranked in the top 25 right now, according to ESPN.com. So I will say that UTSA football is actually our second big major sport. If we're ever going to get another professional league, it's going to be either MLS or it's going to be NFL. We're never going to get a baseball team here. Never. No one wants to bake in 103-degree weather all day long, unless it's going to have like a dome, retractable roof, and all that stuff like they have in Dallas or they have at Minute Maid, Arlington, I meant. But the thing about it is this, is that I used to always blame Jerry Jones for the city of San Antonio not having an NFL team. And we made every effort in the world to bring the Saints over back when Katrina happened nearly 20 years ago. And was it tacky? Yes. But it could have happened. I spoke with Kyle Turley, who used to play for the Saints. I spoke to him in Arizona a few months ago, and he was like, dude, we all wanted to go to San Antonio. I mean, even if everything was perfect in New Orleans, they all wanted to be in San Antonio anyway. And Joe Horn, who was their star wide receiver at the time, was saying that he wanted to come here. Jerry Jones could not have prevented that. Tom Benson is the reason why they went back. He took a deal with the NFL to go back to New Orleans. If the Benson family wanted this team here in San Antonio, it would have stayed here. But it was a bad PR move, and the NFL was giving an enticement to the Saints to go back, right? Just go back. I asked the question to myself a couple of things. If the Saints had moved here and they would have been here 20 years, would this city be a Saints town or would it be a Cowboys town?
I think it'd be a Saints town.
I would hope so. Now, other talks have come up about the flirtation that other teams have had with San Antonio. Before the Raiders moved to Las Vegas, they flirted with San Antonio. They played footsies with us. I have always been told that it's not necessarily Jerry Jones that prevents the NFL from coming here. That the reason why we don't have an NFL team might actually be the Spurs. Think about it this way. Why does the NBA not go to Austin? I mean, the Spurs are playing a couple of games over there, but the one entity that would prevent the Spurs from moving to Austin would be the University of Texas. They're like, hey, we don't have enough, support. We are a UT town. If the city of San Antonio wanted to get an NFL franchise, the Spurs would need to be part of it. It would need to be part of the ownership group, and they would need to have a lot to say about it all. And until that happens, it's going to be difficult, man, because we don't have a lot of industry here. We don't have the deep pockets that Austin has, and that's probably why the Spurs go over there and play footsies with Austin, not only to increase the footprint, but also because there's Dell money over there. There's Tesla money over there. There's all of these companies over there that are in electronics that are part of the whole fabric of Austin, and you need their money. San Antonio, what do we have? We have USAA, which does a good job with the All-American Bowl, does a good job with the Army-Navy game, but how much money would they put into an NFL franchise? How much would HEB do that? How much would who else is there? Valero,
Methodist Hospital.
I mean, it's not enough, man.
Yeah.
So unless it was a San Antonio Austin type of thing, that would make more sense because San Antonio brings the population. You add the two together, you have a media market size that's probably around 15 or 16, which is kind of like where the Denver Broncos are, right? City of Denver. And then you add the money that Austin has. If we're going to have an NFL team, it's going to be because we partner up with Austin.
You know what I really witnessed and I paid attention when I went to go visit my family for my niece's graduation a couple weeks ago. I went over to Baltimore, saw the baseball stadium, nice stadium, but Baltimore Orioles play. Get to see the football stadium where the Ravens play.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. But the one thing that really struck me going into their downtown and seeing what's happening there is not just the layout and the businesses and, how it's just, bustling,
Right.
It's also the level of the community out there. You have a little bit more money up there and it shows. You have people have more money to spend on these things,
They do. And I visited two cities last year that have a lot of sports franchises. I was in Seattle. My wife and I celebrated our anniversary over there. And it was a fun time that we had over there. And you see that they have the Kraken, they have the Mariners, they have the Seahawks, facilities all right next to each other. And when the NBA does expand, Seattle will get another team.
No doubt. They're overdue.
They should never have left Oklahoma City. But it's a sports district that's over there. I was in Philadelphia in October. I have photos of myself, and if you want me to repost it, let me know. I have photos of myself getting drunk on Jalen Hurts' locker. Like I was sitting in his chair drinking Maker's Mark or Crown Royal, whatever I had on me. And I work as a financial advisor. One of my main carriers is Lincoln Financial, and they play at Lincoln Financial Field. And we had a party over there, and they showed me the locker room. They let me stay there for a good while. And you go over to Philadelphia. You have Lincoln Financial Field. right across the street, literally across the street, like walking across the street, you have where the Sixers play, and you have where their hockey team, the Flyers, play. And then off to the side, walking distance, you have the baseball fields where the Phillies play. And then if you've been to Texas Live in Arlington, they have a version of that same company in the middle of it. So it's a complex where you can go eat, where you can go party, where you can go watch sports. And we have in San Antonio, a 30 some odd year old football stadium downtown. And we've got a barn of a basketball arena in the middle of nowhere with nothing around it other than rock and brews on the facility. If we want to have a big league mentality, we need to do big league things.
Yeah.
And we need to show that we're willing to do that. And that part of that might be UTSA. How do we do that with UTSA? Any good comments that you want to do before we take off? This has been a fun show, man. I like the listener questions. Jason reaches out and says, as long as Dallas, Houston, Austin, and College Station have teams, SA will not have a football or a baseball team. We need to focus on soccer. Soccer would thrive in San Antonio. It would.
The whole community here, they're fanatics, dude, for soccer.
Yeah. And it doesn't need to be a 45,000 seat stadium. It could be a 30,000 seat stadium.
A smaller venue, man. More intimate, you know?
Make it happen. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to us on YouTube as well. Hit the like button and share what we do. Let people know what we're doing and how we're having this local content. Again, right now we go from about 12 to about 1:15. But the goal is to put this show out for 2 hours, maybe go from 11 to 1. And then beyond that, add a second show during the weekday. But we need sponsors. We need people to believe in us. We need subscribers. I'm going to check right now. Have we hit 400? Because we were at 398 before the day started. We're at 398 right now.
2 people, man.
Those of you who are listening to this right now, and we have somewhere between 600 to 1,300 listeners per day, and we're only 2 weeks in. Spread the word. You are all responsible for getting us those next 2 to get us to 400. And then we make our march to 500 and beyond. This is a dream that we have. But just like any other dream, you need to have financing for it. You need to have a lot of things. But what we have, Joe, especially you, we have the technology.
Yeah.
And that's half the battle right there. Thank you so much to everyone who has watched this today, who is listening to this. Part of it again, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, midnight. If you are watching this or listening to this later on in the future, as Mike Taylor would say, we're making the show so that it's easy for you to digest and you're not, oh man, oh man, I missed out. No, it's evergreen content for the day. Don't forget, 11 p.m. tonight, NBA free agency begins. I'm going to be super excited about that. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. We're going to try to have Brandon Medina on tomorrow, and maybe I'm going to reach out to Jeff Garcia as well because, goodness, if there is moves being made, we're going to want to have Jeff Garcia for that. So we'll keep you posted on that. Don't forget to follow Locked On Spurs podcast, Jeff Garcia on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone, daily Spurs content. And again, a big shout out to Cynthia J. Sanchez, who is one of our sponsors as well. J Par Realty, reach out to her if you want to have a free valuation of your home, market analysis of your home. Let's have our number up there one last time. We got it at 210-273-0748. Again, 210-273-0748. If you missed out on that contact or you need her contact info, DM me on any of the social media platforms and I will get it to you. This has been fun. We're going to be back tomorrow. Cross your fingers. The Spurs do something big. Again, free agency begins at 11 p.m. tonight. My name is Mike Jimenez. That is Joe Garcia. Thank you for listening. This is The Acquired Taste.